The daffodils are out. I guess that means it's the start of a new season. I guess that means I should try and sort things out. Like the litter that blows in here. What even is that? McVitie's Gold Bar. I didn't even know they still made those. God, living near a main street is a massive pain. Anyway, deadline day.
Boop, boop, right. Wednesday. So, it's Wednesday and we're playing about with something a little bit strange. Oh, actually, you know what? Okay, you've seen me, you know I'm alive. Let's not have our washing up in the background, shall we? In fact, let's close the dishwasher because this is a bit embarrassing. Anyway, so what is this? This is a formicarium. Or at least this, well, it's going to be. And what we're doing now is putting a layer of plaster down on the bottom of it, which is good because this fine casting plaster, which for anybody who's been here long enough, this plaster is the reason of our old Vetra mold didn't work. Because because this stuff is, I ordered this because they were out of the normal plaster I order, and I was like, well, plaster's plaster, right? Turns out plaster is not plaster, right? And I will never stray from Herculite 2 again. So yeah, there's a hint for anybody who is plaster mold making. Herculite 2. It is good. But anyway, so I got some offcuts of acrylic from uni, and I have cut it into a vague tank shape because we are going to let our ants live in this. And there's going to be a little shelf here for the little acrylic ant nest, and a little bit for the ants little thing for a test tube of water to go, because it's almost time. Well, I would actually, if spring had actually come in the way that spring usually does arrive, I would be thinking about unhibernating our ants sometime soon. But sadly, we're getting a real cold spot in, which that real cold spot is also making it a little bit difficult to work as well, because my studio is, okay, I'm not going to say it's cold, because I went in this morning and it was surprisingly warm, all things considered, which means that, like, I shouldn't really have actually worried about the fact that it was -7 last night, but it was heated up from streaming yesterday. So I'd heated it up and it retained some of its heat. Although it might just be in like contrast to having walked out there, because it's cold. But yeah, anyway, so we're just going to mix up this plaster. We're putting down a layer of plaster in here because it's a nice natural surface which will give the ants a bit of a sort of nicer environment, and also it allows us to put some of these things, which are a bunch of like decorations and stones and things into the plaster, and create a nicer living environment for them. We'll also be using some aquarium gravel, but sticking the aquarium gravel to the top of the plaster. In fact, we might need 2 layers of this. And we're doing this in our kitchen because I don't want to have to carry this all the way back into my house after I've done this. In fact, we're going to want an extra layer on here, so come back to me in a minute when we are putting some extra stuff on here, I guess. Okay, so what I want to do is lean it this way a little, so we create almost like a hill. So the ants kind of get the impression that going downwards gets them to their water. In fact, can I? Yeah. There we go. And now let's... Now we have some aquarium gravel stuff. We're just going to... Oh, we're going to wait for it to get a little bit more thing. Oh, whatever. A little bit more words. A little bit... There we go. Got to make sure that these don't touch the walls and give a greater opportunity for ants to climb the walls. And also make sure there's no And also make sure there's no, like, deep pockets around the base of these things that the ants can find their way into and get stuck, or try and move their nest into in the future. Having a couple of nice flat stones gives us surfaces that we can put dead insects on, so that they're able to eat off the, so they're actually able to eat off the like surface. Now let's make it feel a bit more authentic by putting some gravel over it. See, I don't know if this genuinely improves the environment for the ants, because like it gives them something more natural to walk around on, makes them less anxious. That's kind of what I imagine. But of course, I've got no way of knowing if this like improves their life. Either way, now we just wait for this to dry. And that is a new formicare. And that's what I got up to on our Wednesday. Bit boring, I know, but it's either this or I show you my CAD work, which isn't cosplay related, so this is what we get. See you Thursday. I soldered that back together, put a new connector on it, and it's working. Yay. Yeah, this place is a state. This is what happens when deadlines happen to me. But the ants have moved into their new home. Got some 3D printed vehicles for shiggles mostly. But it kind of feels like today is the start of the week. Weirdly enough, it's one of those things where the start of university this week was delayed, and we only yesterday got the introduction to our new unit at university. So unlike last time, I very, very much plan on getting a head start on this. I know I say that every time, but blah, blah, blah. We've got a new table outside the studio, which was rather suitably stolen out of a skip at university. I say stolen, I mean, I asked permission for the people chucking it in if we could have it. But you know what? It's a new day. We're starting again. We have, we have a bag full of masks that I'm going to now base coat before carrying on with my day and probably paint tonight. I need to do another Zenyatta, and I should order some fine filler because I've lost my fine filler that I was using for my space gun because I want to finish that. And yeah, and since it's actually a nice day outside, I'm going to plaster coat something different. I'm going to plaster dip Krombopulous Michael's armour, and that will actually be the paint job on that entirely finished. And god damn it, I left my sunglasses in there. I took them off and put them down. Why am I that dumb? And then we can put the electronics in it, because I promised you electronics. Oh, this stick is so wobbly now. It fell down last week in the snow and it's kind of broken. It's a bit, everything's falling apart. But let's build it all back up. There are daffodils. Oh. So today has been a weird one. I swear that's how that's meant to be. Let me just get the torch thing on. But anyway, yeah. So I might sound a little bit weird right now because I think I'm coming down with an illness. But I have had a really busy day. I have, if you can see the motorbikes over there, washed the motorbikes, I've tidied the house. I finally disassembled the broken gazebo, and I even got round to finally sealing. Oh, if I open the door, you can see it. Krombopulous Michael, which, to be fair, you'll have just seen me doing in the run-up to this, in the start of the Sunday. So, yeah, it's good. But then today has also been a mixture of kind of, as I say, I think I'm coming down with a cold. So I'm getting these in. I think the dew has dropped, but thankfully they've been sealed already with the plaster dip, so they should be fine, right? But yeah, yesterday, Friday, didn't get any recording because I didn't get up to anything that I thought was, well, a few plans with friends fell through, and I had to get the printer sorted. I've had some very last minute, well, not last minute, but some big request, a big like proper corporate gig for some 3D printing, which would sort out like my money issues for the next while, and also it would secure my place, if they paid on time, secure my place at London Comic Con. So yeah, that's cool. But apart from that, it was also meant to be my last therapy session, because it's done on the NHS, so you get an assigned amount of therapy, because they do it all by like, this is how we do things, this is the optimal way to do it, and blah blah blah. But because I've been getting on so well with the therapist and such, she's given me an extra one next week, so I get to see her for the last time next week. Either way, right now I'm going to carry on tidying the house, because my other half is away right now, and he left Bournemouth Thursday, and he'll be back tomorrow night, but he's away playing Magic the Gathering in Madrid. So yeah, I'm taking this opportunity to sort the house out, because I'm a massive cliche. Either way though, we put some more time into some cosplay stuff, so that's good. 3D printer is chugging away nicely, which, to be fair, considering a bit of it broke, and it's been basically chugging for over a month and a half solid, I'm amazed that it's like 2 years old now, and it's printing better than ever, because we're learning how it's working. Right, so now I'm going to go back to tidying the house, and yeah, probably go and lose some League of Legends again as well. So see you all for the stream tomorrow. Bye. So Sunday, I've put a fair amount of work into the house, and also disassembled the demolished marquee that was hanging around in the garden that you might have seen in the background. However, that's not what we are talking about today, and you might think that, oh, it's explicitly cosplay stuff. No, it's so this is my baby. This is my truest child. I've had her for 3 years now, and well, for the first time, she actually broke down. Thankfully, broke down right here on a nice kind of safe area by the side of a roundabout. I'd just gotten off the motorway, so I was able to, when I called for breakdown cover, I was able to tell them, oh, I'm at junction 2, which was really good, really useful. That was by such a useful thing, rather than just going, I'm somewhere along this area. But then again, I've got Google Maps, so but when I called up, I was really worried that I might not have breakdown cover, because I was sure I got it with my insurance, but of course there's a chance I screwed up and cheaped out or something. But turns out, no, I didn't have a breakdown cover. I had 2 breakdown cover, apparently, so I've got to sort out cancelling one at some point. Either way, really good. I used the time to read this book that I brought with me, because I was on my way to my nephew's. I was on the way to my mother's house for Mother's Day, because it's Sunday today. It's Mother's Day, and yeah, broke down almost at her place. So she dropped by. I missed out on a roast dinner though, but she dropped by and I had to give her a gift, and then took this van back. This van, by the way, that my fiancé's motorbike has been in 2 times, and the guy who drives it actually recognised my fiancé's bike. We are moving on here to do some cosplay stuff. This sculpt that I started the other week, the client has been having troubles with their communications, therefore I haven't heard back from them about the changes, so I've given them a list of stuff. That tunnel model back here hiding behind Veteran, and that has been there for months, I need to finish that, as that's a goddamn meal ticket. You can see all of Crombo Michael's stuff has nice and set, so I should actually, before I start streaming today, spray it with some silicone spray, so the surface is nice and release agented, and today I'm not going to spray this with silicone because I'm going to be gluing some stuff in it in preparation for the electronics to go into it. We're not going to shove electronics in it just yet, but gonna get it all prepped by basically putting down some strips of white foam, which the electronics will be mounted on, and then I'm going to try and put a dome of white foam over it, try and put a concave thing so there's a nice gap for diffusion. I can't words. But also, we got some fine filler. I'm just trying to see where it is. Apparently it's not here. We got some fine filler, so I'm able to put some time into Vector's Assault Rifle as well. So we're going to have a nice, calm stream because you might be able to tell by my slightly more annoying than normal voice that I happen to have, a cold. So that's all. That hasn't been helped by all of the stuff this weekend. Oh, let's get my stream booted up, shall we?